Welcome back to Reviews Without Remorse. I am once again Joe. This is my good buddy Dave. What's going on, partner?
Hi.
And we are back with Spider-Man Homecoming spoiler talk. Stuff we couldn't talk about in the last video. But if you've seen it, if you're ready to go, I'm ready to talk some spoilers. What about you?
Oh, let's hit it up, man. So, how about that Captain America?
Hi, I'm Captain America. Here to talk to you about one of the most valuable traits a soldier or student can have. Patience.
I sat through those damn credits, and holy smokes, world's greatest troll ever, as far as I'm concerned.
I gotta tell you, that was funny, because it was like, they got us trained so well, and he's like, we got you.
God bless you, Chris Evans. I mean, talk about, like, the ultimate cameo.
So, you got detention.
Him turning the chair around to talk about, so, you're in detention.
All those were awesome. It was funny, too, because, again, like, if superheroes were real, I could totally see Captain America doing that and having to sit in detention, and yeah.
And that's one to grow on.
Yeah. One of my other favorite parts, oh my god, the Ferris Bueller shot was so cool.
And then intercutting a shot with Ferris Bueller. That was awesome.
It was brilliant because, again, it's like they knew, like they've got us trained really well. I feel like Disney / Marvel, they could just do movies in their sleep. They know how to do great movies, and they know what we're expecting, what we want. It was great because he's running through the yard, and at the exact moment when you're going, oh, that looks like Ferris Bueller, boop, there was Ferris Bueller.
It's like, this reference was not by accident.
Oh my god. It was hysterical.
Entertaining.
What else?
The entire movie was very entertaining. It was nice. It was nice how they used a lot of subtlety. Like, like at one point he needed more web fluid, so he lifts up the locker, grabs the web fluid, and establishes, hey, there's his old costume before Tony Stark came in. Not making a big deal of it, just a quick shot, and then they get to it later. I like that Tony was an integral but not integrated part of the movie. Like, this was him, as far as Homecoming is basically Spider-Man's audition for the Avengers. That's the way I look at it. So you had the sort of specter of Tony Stark popping up every once in a while. Nothing too overbearing. I'm disappointed that the marketing basically made it seem like the Iron Man, Spider-Man movie. I was hoping it wouldn't be that way because I felt that would kind of detract from Spider-Man, and it wasn't. But it felt a little deceptive.
There was even a full-blown shot of the two of them flying through the city together,
which wasn't in the movie.
Right. So yeah, they did kind of lead us down that path, and I think I predicted before in one of the podcasts that I thought maybe there's a reason for that, but because they want us to get used to the idea of him being there, or something. Maybe not, or maybe they just didn't know Spider-Man after years and years of reboots. Maybe people were getting a little Spider-Man out. Maybe they just thought they would sell it on Iron Man, but maybe there's a method to the madness. I don't know.
I guess. But that aside, you have Mr. Michael Keaton's Vulture, who had an amazing origin story, which, not only dug in with the entire history of the Marvel Universe by having it start at the end of the Jatari battle from the Avengers.
Right.
And gave him, like, almost a valid reason why he decided to turn this way, which was great. Yeah. They also introduced damage control, which was it made me giggle like nobody's business when they introduced damage control. They had the great callbacks to his original costume, even though his costume, the Vulture's costume, wasn't exactly like the costume that you saw in the comics, but it was close enough. Even the Shocker. The Shocker all he had was kind of like the yellow arms with the little piping. But it was enough
to catch it if you know him, yeah.
Yeah, but it was enough. It was to me, it was a perfect amount of callback without overwhelming the audience. Liz was a shock to me. I kept referring to her as Liz Allen. She's not Liz Allen. Obviously, she's Liz Toombs because she is the daughter of Mr. Victor Toombs, also known as the Vulture, which, by the way, I saw that coming from a mile away.
Wait, that the Vulture was going to be her father?
Yeah.
Stop.
I swear to God.
I did not
I
see that
swear to
coming at all.
God. I swear to God. You know why? Because he kept referring to his family. He took a phone call from
Right.
his family. He got a message from his family. So I knew that his family was going to pop up at some point in the movie. And by the part of the movie where they finally do reveal it, I'm like, they still haven't talked about this guy's family. He's going to pick her up right now. It was at the moment that he was getting all suited up and stuff like that I was like, we haven't met Toombs' family yet. It's like, oh my God, Liz is Toombs' family. And that's when it wasn't
Really?
like it wasn't like from the beginning. It just was that moment when they had that little montage of Aunt May helping him get ready for homecoming. That I was just thinking to myself, we still haven't seen Toombs' family, and that's when it just kind of hit me.
All right, I tell you what, I didn't see it coming at all.
Yeah.
In fact, I think for like a split second when he opened the door, I thought, like, is he there because he kidnapped Liz and her family? But then 2 seconds later, you realize, oh, that's the father. I didn't see it coming. And frankly, I felt like it was nice. A twist like that I didn't see coming, I thought was a pleasant surprise, as I feel like I haven't gotten one of those in a while.
I will agree that it took a while for me to make the connection, and I'm not saying it was a bad thing at all. I don't think it was a bad thing at all. I think for the storyline that they had to tell, they needed something a little like that to be personal. And also, I appreciated the way it was directed, because the way he answered the door, for a second there, he had that, almost kindly menace, and you're thinking to yourself,
right.
oh my God, he's kidnapped his girlfriend, he's figured it out and stuff like that. But all it was just the typical, you're taking my girl out for a date, type thing.
Right. So even later when he says, I'm going to have the father talk,
yeah,
you would think, like, if I was Liz, I wouldn't, okay,
Yeah, you wouldn't
doubt it at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't think twice about it.
Yeah, I thought that was an excellent twist. And I'll tell you, the part when you see him piecing together that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Oh, God, so well acted, so well done.
The only thing I kind of walked away with, though, was like, by that logic, though, a lot of people should be able to figure out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Because basically anybody who you sit and talk to for a minute and you say, Peter was here, Spider-Man showed up. Again, it's a typical superhero trope that, again, like, they're always in the same place at the same time and nobody kind of figures it out. Clark Kent wears the glasses. Where'd Superman go? And we just sort of accept it. When the Vulture did it, though, I kind of said to myself, it made perfect sense the way he put it together. But then again, a lot of people can probably do the same thing.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't know who Peter Parker is. Until he walked through the door, he didn't know who Peter Parker was either. He was just, this kid. And then as the car ride progressed, that's when he started asking questions. Who's this? Who's that? Huh, really?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed, yeah. Again, but then again, basically the argument is that anybody close enough to Peter who's ever been around Spider-Man or knows where Spider-Man goes, if you're close enough to him, you should be able to sort of figure it out.
Yeah, pretty much. But that's always kind of been the underlying current of the comic book series anyway, and now in the movie series.
Exactly. Like I said, it's a trope. It's a trope, but in this, it was a trope, but in this case,
which
again,
didn't last.
The movie felt very realistic and grounded. I thought it made sense, but again, now he's going. But anyway, be that as it may, I thought it was very well done.
Exactly. Same here. That great reveal at the end with Aunt May.
What the
That was great.
That was so funny.
That was almost like the Iron Man 1 moment.
Yeah, exactly. I had a friend of mine actually say to me that this is her favorite Marvel movie that's like on par with Iron Man 1.
I'll tell you what, I have no problem with that. I think this may very well be... it's funny. As we were rating it, again, I'm giving it a 9. I wanted to give it a 10. There's a part of me that's like, all right, dude, calm down, because you don't know how this is going to... Like, maybe next year you might think differently. Mm-hmm. I walked out of that theater just so excited by this movie. I was so... The whole time this thing is going on, there was not one moment where I was... Everything was great. The pace was perfect. The things they did, new things. Again, it wasn't Spider-Man getting bit and now suddenly flying through the skyscrapers in Manhattan. Mm-hmm. It was baby steps. It's baby steps, and you see where it's going to progress to, I mean, again, the shots of him running through the suburbs, jumping on houses, running through the golf course, going, "Oh, this sucks." I mean, it was great. Like what does Spider-Man do? There's no buildings. Tough luck. You gotta. That's it.
That was actually one of my favorite. That was actually one of my favorite moments where he's flying through the buildings and he fires a web and there's a park and poof. It's like,
Exactly. Just hoofing it. Oh my god, that was awesome. The suit was a little weird to me. I thought not weird, but again, it's funny because we talked about how because of in previous podcasts, you and I have talked about how this is going to be a weird incarnation of Spider-Man because, again, he's sort of coming in through the side door because the Marvel Universe is very established, the Avengers are established, Peter's the young guy, so it makes sense. So he's coming into an established world where Tony Stark and yada, yada, yada. So that the high-tech suit, again, very unlike the Spider-Man I think of when I think of Spider-Man, but it did have I did like what they did with it. Like, the fact that it had its own AI. And do you know who voiced the AI, by the way?
As a matter of fact, I do. Jennifer Connelly, wife of Paul Bettany, who was Jarvis.
There you go.
I know my
very
trivia.
clever, yeah. Now again, I thought it was I had mixed feelings about that it actually had full-blown AI that he could talk to, just like Jarvis. But again, the payoff was great, because now he's narrating sections of the film talking about things that are going on, which in another film, like just regular narration or just some kind of other data dump to get things out.
Right.
This worked pretty well. Like, it was a nice story tool. So I was pretty happy with it. The parachute, lasers out of his eyes. Okay,
might have been too much. But for a suit designed by Tony Stark for the kid, and the way that they had to bring him into the story, you kind of had to kind of accept that a little bit, simply because of the way he was introduced first through Civil War and now here. So
right, no, I agree, and I mean, this whole incarnation of Spider-Man is going to be interesting because, again, there are going to be liberties taken, with the comic, with the backstory. I mean, again, there wasn't even like a wink to Uncle Ben at all.
Not yet.
Again, right, and I kind of. I thought for sure we were going to get something to sort of acknowledge that, but you know what? It made sense. Either do it or don't do it. Leave it alone. Don't jam things in there that don't work. I thought it worked well the way they did it.
I agree. This was totally a we trust our audience. They know who Spider-Man is. They know his with great power, with great responsibility. Let's just get to the Spider-Man who's still not quite there, but close. So you can really show off all the fun stuff about him.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. There's a completist in me that kind of quietly mourns for not having the origin story. I mean, again, I completely agree with everybody who says we are origined out. This character has been done over and done over, so you can't do it with this. Just don't. I totally get that. On the other hand, there's a part of me that says, like, in 20 years from now, when I'm kind of going back and showing, nieces, nephews, and grandchildren the Spider-Man, I would kind of like to see a Marvel origin of Spider-Man. Maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. I don't know. It could be just cut your losses.
It could always do it in a flashback. I mean, it could be just a quick flashback. It doesn't even have to be much. It could just be
maybe
a little quick scene, with him and Uncle Ben and him and the criminal and that moment when it hits him. I mean, it could be very, very quick. It could be over the damn opening credits of the next one, for God's sakes.
Right.
And it would just be a great reintroduction to the character.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. I thought this movie had a lot of heart, and again, I love the part that, when Peter is, again, he's struggling throughout the whole film. There's a lot going on. When he actually gets buried under the rubble.
Oh.
And
dude, right out of the Ditko comic. Right out of Ditko.
Like, he really, I mean, he just kind of flips out to the point that he's like crying or almost crying, and you're kind of like, Jesus, it's really getting heavy. I mean, that really had some emotional punch, and you didn't doubt that at all. I mean, I thought Holland was excellent. He was really, really good.
An amazing dude. Great flick. It might be the best flick of the summer so far.
Oh, I think so too. And again, we've said it before. This has been some year for superhero movies. There has not been one dud yet. including the DC movie that came out this year.
I know.
As far as I'm concerned, it's been one home run after another. I don't predict it's going to go to the end of the year, but that's another story. The other thing I wanted to mention...
Have a little faith. Have a little faith.
Joss Whedon, I'm looking at you. The one thing that I did, there was one thing that I thought kind of just landed with a little bit of a thud.
I'm a little ahead of the game, but we will need a new team captain next year, so I am appointing Michelle.
Thank you. My friends call me MJ.
I thought you didn't have any friends.
I didn't.
My friends call me MJ.
Yep, me too. Me too.
Right? It just clunk, right?
I don't mind them doing an update. I don't mind them doing an updated characterization of MJ. I really, really don't. But I kind of felt like, did that really need to be like this big thing? And
yeah.
And so far, I'm lukewarm to the character. I enjoyed some moments with her that she did. The sketching during detention was very funny and everything like that. But I don't know. I'd have to see how it plays out first. I'm not going to try to judge right now. But yes, I agree. In fact, if you want to, if you ask me why did I say 9 out of 10, I took a point off for MJ simply because the reveal was just like, oh, really?
Right. It's like we've kind of done the whole reveal thing where it's like, oh, my name is really so and so.
Yeah.
Oh, you should use your real name, Robin, or oh, my name is Eve Moneypenny. Like we get it. It's overdone at this point. Whatever. And yeah, I did kind of have mixed feelings, saying to myself like, so now. Well, first of all, I thought it was odd that again her name is Michelle. It's not Mary Jane. So I'm saying to myself, are they? They could still just sort of say, hey, you know what, we're just kidding. That's not really Mary Jane. We'll do that later. If they do go ahead with this, I didn't mind the character, but again, now Mary Jane is going to be like the Ali Sheedy character from Breakfast Club. I don't know. It kind of sounded a little funny.
We'll have to see where it goes. I deducted a point from it because of it. I'm not completely convinced just yet. So
right.
But since everything else was so damn solid, I'm kind of willing to give him a little leeway.
Yeah, no, listen, I thought, like I said, I think this was a home run. I think it is the best Spider-Man film I've ever seen. Like I said, they had more luxuries in this to tell a story, a Spider-Man story, without having to do the origin, without having to wedge in every element. Again, I love the first Sam Raimi, but he had a job to do, and he had to make a soup to nuts Spider-Man film with all the elements that we know, the origin, the big bad guy, all the side characters, the Daily Bugle, that was a tough job. Done well. Here, they were free to do just a good Spider-Man story, and that's, I think, what we got. We got just a great Spider-Man story, enjoyable, hit all the right marks, the tone was perfect, realistic. The part when we didn't even talk about the whole Washington Monument.
Whoa! But we should save some stuff for the podcast, don't you think?
Well, right. Well, we will definitely get into that there. Right. Okay. Fair enough. I just thought there was a realism to that scene that I thought, like, had Raimi done this, it would have been done differently. Yeah, we'll talk about it more in the podcast.
Yeah, you're talking about when he had to climb up the monument.
Right, scrambling up as opposed to like shooting his webs up and like ricocheting up, slingshotting himself up to the top in like 2 seconds,
Yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah, we'll
check out the
talk
podcast
more
to find out more about this scene.
Exactly. Yeah, this is the Reviews Without Remorse video reviews. Check out our podcast. It's called Reviews Without Remorse. Very creative. And that is where, if you want more of this discussion, we'll get more in depth and tell you more about the different details and what we thought about the whole film, just much more in depth.
Yep. See you on the podcast. Hear you.
The other post-credit sequence.
We're not just going to talk the one sequence. We're going to try to break it down much more deeper.
That's it. All right. Thanks for watching.
Thank you very much. Have a good night. Good night, sir.
How many more of these?
Thanks for watching our very first video review. If you like what you just heard and want to hear more, please check out our podcast, Reviews Without Remorse, for hour-long discussions of this and other popular films. If you really, really like what you heard, please consider becoming a patron. You can check out our page at patreon.com. All the clips in this video are used for commentary and critique and are considered fair use. No copyright infringement is intended.